Former President Donald Trump is sounding off tonight on his mounting legal battles. Now, overnight, the federal court gave the Justice Department permission to resume reviewing classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago.
Tonight, there is also new fallout from New York's Attorney General filing a lawsuit against Mr. Trump and his oldest children. Alice Barr has the latest now from Washington.
Good afternoon, Ron and Jennifer. Former President Trump pushing back against his mounting legal troubles in a new interview, his most extensive comments since the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago. In a setback for former President Trump, a federal appeals court unanimously ruling the Justice Department can once again use the classified documents seized from his Florida estate as part of its criminal investigation that reverses a lower court's order. In a Fox News interview recorded before the decision, the former president again insisting he had declassified everything.
If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
One leading Senate Republican today casting doubt on that.
I think there's a process for declassifying documents, and I think it ought to be adhered to and followed.
The appeals court noted the Trump legal team had not presented any evidence about declassifying material. The dozens of highly sensitive records were among more than 11,000 government documents the FBI recovered from Mar-a-Lago.
These are documents that are about the national defense and are in no way personal records of his, and that defeats any claim he has to recovery or possession of these documents.
The former president also blasting a separate investigation into his business practices after New York Attorney General Letitia James announced she was suing Mr. Trump for fraud, accusing him and his three oldest children of lying about the value of assets to secure better loans and tax rates. The former president dismissing it as politically motivated.
She said, we're going to get him. That her whole campaign was based on that. And then she came after us.
Eric Trump posted this video showing James vowing to sue the former president even before she was elected.
In less than a week, lawmakers in Washington, D.C. will hold the next hearing on the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack. Next Wednesday's hearing will be the last one before the committee releases its report. It's set to come out by the end of the year. Now, we don't know what will be discussed, but we do know the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has agreed to an interview. Right now, Ginny Thomas faces accusations that she was involved in efforts to undermine the 2020 election.
The Federal Trade Commission says Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and the company's CEO must testify in its investigation into that company. The FTC is investigating whether Amazon automatically enrolled consumers into Prime and other paid services without their consent. Now, the company had filed a petition to the agency's top officials asking them to intervene. However, agency commissioners say that Amazon had not met the legal threshold to block the civil subpoenas issued to the two men. Mortgage rates are the highest they've been since 2008, and they've been climbing more than a month now, hitting the 6.29% according to Freddie Mac. To put this into perspective here, folks, it was 2.88% or 88% this same time last year. Recession fears continue growing as another rate hike comes from the Federal Reserve in its ongoing fight against inflation. Because of the higher rates, home prices have started to soften just a little bit and sales have decreased, but there is still a shortage of available homes for sale. Fall literally just started. It started today, but Walmart is getting ready for the holidays. The end of the year, the retailer says that it has increased inventory of popular and big ticket items. It plans to start offering major deals beginning next month. Walmart also updated its return policy, giving you more time to return those gifts.
Well, as we've mentioned, today is the first day of fall. It's coming in just a couple of hours. And if you have found yourself sneezing more lately or dealing with those watery eyes, you are certainly not alone out there. Fall allergies are in full swing for many of us.
This time of the year, in the fall time, we typically will have ragweed and weeds and molds during this period of time. There's a lot more molds because it's actually really damp out there and we've got leaves on the ground.
An allergist says common symptoms of fall allergies can include a stuffy or runny nose, itchiness, watery eyes, and sneezing. And there are different treatment options available to you depending on the severity of your allergies, including nasal steroids or an antihistamine as needed. Now, if you have fall allergies, you can help your symptoms by limiting time outdoors, closing the windows of your home, and get this one, guys. Trying to shower daily to help wash off any pollen. What do y'all think about that last?
Well, I think you should do that anyway,
Yes.
whether it's allergies or not, right?
Or just dirt or sweat, you know?
Anything.
Get that off your body too.
Anything. But I mean, a lot of folks, this one especially, are very ready for fall and those cooler temperatures that are going to be on the way.
Yeah, it's coming tonight. In fact, we're going to start feeling it during the evening hours tonight with that cooler air moving in. You know, today's high was 94. Tomorrow, we may not even hit 80 degrees for a high temperature for the first full day of fall, all right? So it arrives officially at 9:03 tonight. And with the front that's also moving in, we're tracking some showers that we have around right now. Not everybody is getting wet, but the showers that are occurring do have some heavy rain with them. This one right now about to move in right over the city. It does have heavy rain in association with it. A few gusty winds as well. Here's the city of Atlanta. This is right at 75 and 85 here on the downtown connector, continuing to push on down to the south. And again, heavy rain is the main threat with that. Also on the south side, just a few of these isolated showers that we have around as well. The front is going to move through tonight and fall officially arrives, and just in time for that equinox, the cooler air is also going to come in too, moving in overnight and into tomorrow. And we're also tracking the tropics, not only Fiona and Gaston out there, but another potential system that we're watching in the Caribbean that could end up in the Gulf. We'll talk about some of those scenarios in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, see you in a couple of minutes. Teaming up to serve neighbors in need. You're looking at the Atlanta Braves Home Plate Project in action. So today, the Braves joining forces with Musk Ministries and Athena Farms and the Noonday Association to prepare 400 boxes of food. They were out in full force with fresh produce and non-perishable goods as well. Organizers say the goal of the project is to fight food insecurity and to help local families do whatever it takes to get by.
I have seen families that come up and that has said to me, if you hadn't been here today, I would not have had food. When they're struggling, do I pay a bill or do I buy groceries? We're helping them to make that decision and to make that decision easier.
Great program. The Home Plate Project is not just for the city of Atlanta. It's meant to feed families all across Braves country. So far, it's helped to feed families in Atlanta, Gwinnett, Rome, and Albany. It's also crossed state lines into Tennessee.
Good work there. Yeah. Well, we've got some Thursday night football action in Atlanta tonight. Georgia State is gearing up to take on Coastal Carolina at home for a tough conference game. And our Maria Martin is right inside of Center Park Stadium, standing by with the Panthers head coach to preview tonight's Sun Belt matchup. Hey, Maria, what have you got there?
Hey, Jennifer, yeah, right inside of Center Park Stadium. And yeah, the weather is a little bit intense so far. We're hoping to see that same intensity when we play football. Georgia State and Coastal Carolina kicking off Sun Belt play here at Center Park Stadium. And right now, the man of the hour standing to my left is head coach of the Georgia State Panthers, Sean Elliott. And Coach, good to see you as always. This 0-3 start for you guys, it's not necessarily indicative of how you guys have been able to play football, but you have a Coastal Carolina team coming in here undefeated 3-0. How have you managed to keep your guys confident heading into a matchup like this?
Well, you know, I just talked to our team about what we've really done. I mean, in our first 3 ball games, there's been some really good areas in our team. And, you know, unfortunately, about 6 or 7 plays could have really just changed that thing around. We could be from 0-3 to 3-0 very, very easily. So we're just staying confident. We understand we have a good football team. Yes, we are 0-3, but I told them we got to reset. We start conference, you know, the season tonight against Coastal Carolina. So let's go out and play hard, see where we stand.
Coastal Carolina has a quarterback who was Sun Belt Player of the Year last year, preseason Sun Belt Player of the Year this year, Grayson McCall. He can do a lot of different things offensively. What's going to be key for you guys on defense to contain Grayson tonight?
Well, you know, I think you know, this old cliche, you got to hit him. You got to hit the quarterback. We got to put pressure on him. We got to keep him in the pocket, perimeter run game. He does such a good job throwing the football, his precise timing on his routes and things of that nature. But honestly, we've got to put a hat on him.
And control the controllables, kind of like this weather. This is uncontrollable. Anything that'll change when it comes to this right now?
Nah, you know, we typically hand the ball off, you know, and do that kind of sort. Let's go play great defense, hand the ball off a few times, and maybe this rain to get out of here in this wind, we might throw a pass or two, but this wind is really strong right now.
One last question for you. You mentioned running the football. Coastal Carolina's run defense has been really stout. How much confidence do you have in your guys offensively to be able to get some positive yardage on the ground tonight?
You know, I tell them each and every week, I said, I'll tell you when I get in the game. You know, and that's what it's all about. They do a really good job defensively. We understand they're stout at stopping the run, but we're pretty good at running the football. Should be a great storyline for this game. We're going to go out here and give it a try. I guarantee you one thing, we're not going to stop running because they got a stout defense.
And they definitely have this coming at them too, as well as you guys. Coach, thank you so much. Good luck tonight. And guys, hopefully this will come out of here so we can play some football.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
And we certainly hope it clears up. We know Coach Elliott has that Carolina connection, Maria, so that win will be extra sweet for him. Hopefully we can get some cover. We're going to let you go. Bye, Maria. Oh, man. Hopefully things improve out there for the game. All right, still ahead for you. More and more school districts and local libraries are banning books. So up next, we're going to take you inside the debate and verify what we know about recent efforts to keep them away from children.
It is Banned Books Week. That's when readers are encouraged to check out books that someone does not want on the shelf. So there are dozens of books banned right now in some parts of Metro Atlanta schools.
Abby Larico verifies what we know about efforts to keep certain books from being read.
If it feels like you're hearing more and more about libraries and school boards removing certain reading material from shelves and curriculum, well, the groups that keep track of this kind of thing would tell you you're right. We looked at recent reports tracking book bans and talked to Will Creeley, legal director for the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, to verify how many books are getting formally pulled out of schools and libraries, where it's happening, and why. The American Library Association reports 2021 saw the largest number of attempted book bans since it began tracking that 20 years ago.
There's always been some amount of book banning, right? But this is unprecedented. It is a tsunami. It is an avalanche of censorship.
PEN America's extensive index of school book bans lists more than 1,600 titles challenged in the last year. Texas has the highest stack of banned books, followed by Florida and Pennsylvania.
This is happening everywhere.
Historically challenged books have often centered around language or what might have been deemed mature topics, but targeted books increasingly center around characters and issues, quote, of people who are gay, trans, black, indigenous, people of color, immigrants, and refugees, according to the ALA. 5 of the 10 most challenged books for the last year deal with LGBTQ issues. Creeley says it's a precedent that could impact a variety of beliefs.
That axe swings both ways, right? Once you start banning books, it is a very slippery slope.
The PEN America report found sometimes books are pulled in political moves from school board officials or even those high up in state government. But most of these book challenges come from local action and advocacy parent groups, typically conservative, aiming to amplify parents' voices in schools. Most of these have only been formed in the past few years. With your Verify, I'm Abby Larico.
So we looked into PEN America's index of school book bans for Georgia, and we found there were 22 books on the banned list, but only for 2 counties, for Scythe and Cherokee County schools. Cherokee County has banned 10 titles. This is for both in library and what's allowed in the classroom. For Scythe County has banned the other 12, and again, this is both in libraries in the classroom. In January, when most of the books were banned, a community spokesperson told 11 Alive, "We do have a responsibility as a school system within the walls of our school to expose or whether to what we expose our students to as far as sexually explicit content." Some of the banned books have to do with sexuality, school shootings, or drug use. And in 1982 Supreme Court case that left the door open for local school boards to ban books if they contained ample sexual content.